Here's a number that surprises most landscapers. Adding snow removal to an existing lawn care business can generate an extra $3,000 to $15,000 in the 4 to 5 months your mowers are sitting in the garage doing nothing. That's not a guess. That's based on how this industry actually performs. But here's the catch nobody tells you. Most landscapers who add snow removal lose money in year 1. Not because the idea is bad. Because they price it wrong, they skip the paperwork, and they find out the hard way that snow doesn't wait for you to figure things out. So let's actually break this down. Is this worth doing? And if yes, how do you do it without the expensive mistakes? This video is for landscaping business owners who already have clients, already have at least one reliable truck, and want a second revenue stream instead of laying off crew every winter. This is not for someone who has 0 landscaping clients and thinks snow plowing alone is an easy first business. That's a different, much harder game with different economics, and we'll touch on why later. If you're already mowing lawns for 20, 30, 50 clients, this video is exactly for you. So what is this exactly? In plain terms, you're offering snow and ice clearing, driveways, sidewalks, small parking lots, to the same client base you already service in summer, plus new commercial clients like small retail plazas, churches, and HOAs. You make money 2 ways: per push pricing, where you charge each time it snows above a trigger depth, usually 2 inches, or flat-rate seasonal contracts, where a client pays one price for the whole winter regardless of how many storms hit. Most profitable operators lean towards seasonal contracts because it's predictable income, and predictable income is what actually lets you sleep at night in January. Now let's talk numbers, because this is where I want to be blunt instead of hyped. The U.S. snow removal services industry was valued at roughly $22 to $23 billion, with over 101,000 registered businesses operating in it and around 324,000 people employed nationwide. Commercial contracts make up about 65% of total industry revenue, which tells you something important. The real money isn't in one driveway at a time, it's in landing 3 or 4 small commercial properties. Industry estimates also suggest that around 70% of the U.S. population lives in regions that get meaningful snowfall, and local governments alone spend over $2 billion a year just on public snow and ice control. That's a market that isn't going anywhere. But, and this matters, average profit margins in this industry sit at just 5 to 10%. This is not a high-margin business. It's a volume and efficiency business. Let's get into what it actually costs to add this, assuming you already own a landscaping truck. A plow attachment for your existing pickup runs about $3,000 to $6,000. A walk-behind snow blower for sidewalks and small paths is $700 to $1,500. A tow-behind or truck bed salt spreader is another $500 to $1,500. You'll need to add a commercial snow removal rider to your existing liability insurance, which typically runs $500 to $1,500 a year. Do not skip this, we'll come back to why. Legal basics, a proper seasonal service contract template, and a liability waiver cost roughly $300 to $800 if you have a lawyer review or customize them. Initial marketing, meaning flyers, a Google business profile setup, and some local paid ads, runs $300 to $1,000. Scheduling or CRM software, if you choose to use one, is typically $50 to $150 a month. And miscellaneous costs, ice melt bags, tire chains, safety gear, tarps, usually land around $300 to $600. Add it up, and you're looking at a minimum investment of roughly $5,000 to $10,000, assuming the truck itself is already paid for. Here's where that money actually goes. The plow and spreader are your biggest single expense because they're the tools that let you serve more properties per storm. This is the equipment that determines how many driveways you can realistically hit before sunrise. The insurance rider isn't optional paperwork, it's what protects you the day someone slips on a sidewalk you cleared and decides to call a lawyer. The contract templates protect your income. A signed seasonal agreement is the difference between getting paid in a light snow year and eating the cost of equipment you bought for nothing. Marketing gets you in front of clients before the first storm, because by the time it's snowing, everyone's already booked. And the software, if you use it, is really about routing. Knowing the fastest order to hit 20 driveways matters more than people expect. Monthly operating costs during an active season typically include fuel, which industry data shows can eat up around 15% of snow removal revenue, ice melt and salt restocking, the monthly portion of your insurance, your software subscription if applicable, and any part-time labor if you bring on a driver during major storms. Budget roughly $500 to $2,000 a month in operating costs depending on how many properties you're servicing. Now, income potential, 3 scenarios, no sugarcoating. Conservative, meaning a mild winter and a small client list of maybe 10 to 15 driveways. Expect $3,000 to $5,000 for the season. Realistic, meaning a normal winter and 20 to 30 residential clients plus a couple of small commercial accounts. $8,000 to $15,000. Optimistic, meaning a heavy snow year with 40-plus clients including several commercial contracts. $20,000 to $35,000. Average profit margin across the industry, again, sits at 5 to 10%, so this is about volume and repeat contracts, not one big payday. Break-even is usually 1 to 2 winter seasons if you're using equipment efficiently and you've locked in seasonal contracts rather than relying purely on per-push jobs, which are far less predictable. The biggest mistakes people make, underpricing to win clients fast, then realizing fuel and time eat the margin. Not having signed contracts, so when it's a light snow year, clients simply don't call and you're stuck with equipment payments. Skipping insurance because it's just a driveway. Taking on too many properties for one truck, so half your clients get plowed at 2 p.m. instead of 6 a.m., and in this business, timing is the entire product. And treating this as passive income, when in reality it demands you're awake and moving at 4 a.m. during a storm. Where the real opportunity sits, most small operators ignore HOAs and small commercial plazas because they assume that's big company territory. It isn't, and it's underserved by anyone offering personal, responsive service. Subscription-based seasonal plans are already the dominant model, representing over 60% of the market, so building your pricing around that from day one puts you ahead of competitors still quoting per storm. Senior citizen and elderly client driveway plans are another underserved niche. Reliability matters more to that client base than price, and they refer heavily. Here's how to actually start. First, audit your current client list and ask who'd want winter service. This is your fastest path to your first 10 contracts with zero new marketing spend. Second, buy the minimum viable equipment. 1 plow, 1 spreader, 1 blower. Third, update your insurance before you touch a single driveway. Fourth, build a simple seasonal contract and get it signed before the first snowfall, not during it. Fifth, set your service radius tight. Don't say yes to a client 40 minutes away just because they asked. Sixth, run your first season, track every job, and use that data to refine pricing for year 2. On the tool side, you genuinely don't need much software to start, but as you scale past 20 to 30 clients, a scheduling and CRM system starts paying for itself, because manually tracking which driveway got done, which contract is due for renewal, and which client hasn't paid becomes a real time drain. That's exactly the kind of setup SoftAngles handles, building simple booking systems, client CRMs, and scheduling tools tailored to seasonal service businesses like this one. If that's something you'd want built out properly instead of juggling spreadsheets, you can book a free consultation with SoftAngles, and I'll leave that link in the description. For marketing, online, a Google business profile with before and after photos and reviews does more work than paid ads early on. Offline, door hangers in October and November, before anyone's thinking about snow, consistently outperform wintertime flyers. Low-budget scaling starts with simply asking your current landscaping clients directly. Most will say yes before you even finish the sentence. Once you're past your first season, scaling means building relationships with HOA management companies and small commercial property managers, since one signed HOA account can equal 10 residential driveways in revenue. The real risks here: unpredictable weather means a mild winter can leave you with idle equipment and no revenue to show for the investment. Liability exposure is real and constant. One bad fall on a property you serviced can end a small business without proper insurance. And burnout is common, because this work happens at odd hours, often in dangerous driving conditions. Do this: get contracts signed before winter starts, carry proper insurance, price based on your real costs, not your competitors' guess, and start small enough that you can actually deliver on time. Don't do this. Don't take commercial contracts you can't physically service in the promised window, don't skip the legal paperwork to save a few $100s, and don't assume last year's snowfall predicts this year's. So, final verdict. Is it worth it? For an existing landscaping business with idle equipment and idle crew in winter, yes, this is one of the more sensible ways to convert a seasonal business into a year-round one, and the data backs that up. Who should start it? Landscapers with an existing client base, a reliable truck, and the discipline to handle contracts and insurance properly. Who should avoid it? Anyone trying to start a business from zero with no existing landscaping clients and no capital cushion for a mild winter, because the seasonal risk alone can sink a business with no other income to fall back on. If this kind of practical, numbers-first breakdown is useful to you, subscribe, because we do this for a new business idea every week. No hype, just what the data actually says. And if you're at the point where you need real systems built, scheduling, CRM, client management, to actually run this efficiently, book a free consultation with SoftAngles using the link in the description. They'll give you a clear estimate before you spend $1.